Hey everyone, welcome back to Turkish Series Stars. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and tap like, it helps more than you think. Today we're unraveling a story that has every Jenk, Torun and Mahassine Merabet supporter on edge. For 3 days, Jenk hasn't stepped outside, and the internet is convinced it's because of something Mahassine said in a recent appearance. What exactly did she say that left the entire fandom buzzing? And why would it push someone as composed as Jenk into hiding? Let's walk through it, step by step, because every glance, whisper, and post seems to be loaded with meaning. It started quietly. A few evenings ago, Mahassine sat under soft studio lights on a Turkish talk show, not defensive, not triumphant, just calm, with that poised grace people know her for. Her voice never wavered, yet her eyes told a different story. She chose her words carefully, but the sentiment was unmistakable. Sometimes love doesn't vanish, it reshapes itself into something sharper, something that reminds you it once mattered. She never named anyone. She didn't need to. The way she paused after certain phrases, the faint smile that didn't reach her eyes, everyone who's followed her journey with Jenk recognized the subtext. The studio audience felt it. The viewers felt it. And so, it seems, did he. People close to Jenk say he watched the show in silence. He didn't call back friends that night. He didn't post a quick reaction. He just let the words sink in, like stones thrown into a lake, with ripples spreading farther than anyone expected. Neighbors later murmured to reporters that his home had gone unusually quiet, no car engines, no deliveries, no visitors. Curtains drawn. Lights moving from room to room at late hours. It's not the first time he's retreated like this. Those who know him say he goes inward when the weight gets heavy. When he feels overwhelmed, he writes. He keeps notebooks, the kind with dog-eared pages and worn covers, where he works through feeling before finding language to match it. While the street outside his place stayed still, online life ignited. One side swore that Mahassine was simply telling her truth, that honesty after a complicated love isn't betrayal but healing. The other side asked how she could reopen a book they thought she'd shelved for good, especially if she believed he still cared. Comments rolled in like a tide that refused to recede. Let him heal, don't poke at scars, we all saw how he looked at you, why bring this up now, maybe she just needed to exhale. And at the center of the whirlwind, Jenk remained wordless. That silence only fueled more theories. Was he preparing a statement? Would he respond with a song lyric, a poem, a cryptic caption? Would he do nothing at all, letting time do the speaking? For 2 full days, there was nothing to see, no sightings, no leaks, no clues. Then came the 3rd day. A paparazzo, camped out on the opposite sidewalk before sunrise, caught a sliver of Jenk's morning ritual. A balcony door opened. He stepped out wearing a simple sweater, hair unstyled, holding a mug big enough to swallow both hands. He stared into the distance with a look that wasn't dramatic or rehearsed. Just raw, a little tired, a little thoughtful. When a journalist called up from the street, asking whether Mahassine's words had hit him hard, he didn't dodge. He answered quietly, almost as if speaking to himself. He wasn't surprised by her remarks, not exactly, but it still aches to hear aloud what you hoped had already softened with time. Then he finished his coffee, gave a small nod, and closed the door. That was it. By afternoon, an unexpected flicker appeared. A new story posted to one of his accounts. No video. No long caption. Just a line over a muted background. There are moments when the kindest answer is quiet. Screenshots spread everywhere within minutes. Was that meant for her? Was it a peace offering, or a farewell, or simply a pause? Interpretations multiplied, and suddenly every old photo of them, red carpet smiles, candid jokes backstage, those gentle, unguarded looks, was circulating with renewed intensity. Meanwhile, Mahassine was seen leaving a recording studio with a scarf around her hair and a jacket draped over one arm, avoiding flash after flash with polite nods. A reporter dared to ask if she had Jenk on her mind. She didn't flee the question. She wished him well. She said sometimes we don't speak to wound, we speak to be honest about the shape of what we carry. And without dressing it up as something it wasn't, she admitted what they shared was real. She would not erase their pages, even if some of them were hard to reread. On the fourth morning, witnesses spotted Jenk in his garden. The sun wasn't high yet, the grass still beating with dew. He wore a gray sweatshirt and carried a slim notebook, the corners curled, a pen pressed between the pages. Someone nearby caught a few words he murmured while pacing slowly. Love doesn't vanish, it learns to hide. Those words flew online and took on a life of their own, paired with old clips of the couple, press interviews, shared laughter, affectionate asides, spliced into montages that trended within hours. For a moment it felt like the internet wanted to rewrite a chapter by sheer force of nostalgia. That same afternoon, rumors swirled about a letter. No grand public gesture, no theatrical delivery. A private envelope, ivory white, carried to his door by someone from her team. Photographers later captured him at dusk on his terrace, the envelope in hand, tracing the seal with a thumb as the sky turned gold. Nobody knows what was inside. A goodbye? An apology? A reminder of something only the two of them would understand? The mystery only added voltage to an already charged story. Just before midnight, Jenk shared a new post. Not words this time, a photograph. A horizon just beginning to brighten, the first thin ribbon of day gathering itself after a long night. Over the image, a simple line, every sunrise teaches us a different way to listen to our feelings. It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't angry, but it felt deliberate. And because every syllable counts when hearts are involved, that single sentence became the headline of the night. Morning came, and he chose not to disappear behind a tinted window or race past cameras. He paused outside his home, hands in his pockets, the kind of posture that signals both vulnerability and resolve. He didn't give a speech. He said only what he needed to, he carried no bitterness, only memories that refused to become silent, and he respected the truth they once shared. The microphones moved closer. He thanked everyone and stepped back inside. From there, the speculation entered a new stage. Some thought the letter had reached him in a way nothing else could, that maybe it held a bridge instead of a wall. Others argued that their exchange had the air of closure, tender, respectful, final. Still others insisted that this was the liminal space relationships sometimes need, a moment of reflection that either softens edges enough for a return or clarifies distance enough for peace. What's clear is this: they have always been intentional about what the public sees and what remains theirs alone. He has the classic restraint of a man who believes feelings should be treated like fragile glass, handled, not thrown. She has the poise of someone who understands that truth without kindness can bruise, and kindness without truth can suffocate. When those two temperaments meet, they either build a safe harbor or collide into storms. It's never been lukewarm between them, and that's exactly why people care. We know that after the balcony sighting, he spent time by his piano. A neighbor swore they heard faint chords late that night. Slow, searching, as if he was trying to find the right notes for the words he couldn't share yet. We also know she checked on her family, took a long walk near the seaside, and kept her phone face down except when necessary. He stayed off the grid except for that single sunrise. She kept working, finishing what she'd started in the studio but skipping a scheduled dinner with friends. There were also the small tells that fans obsess over because, well, sometimes the smallest things are the loudest. A ring visible in an old picture that she reposted for a few minutes and then deleted. A playlist update on his account featuring a track they once mentioned in an interview. A photo of a bookstore receipt tucked into her tote, the title barely visible, a novel about two people who say the right things at the wrong time. Coincidence? Maybe. But we know better than to dismiss coincidences when emotions run this high. The way this all unfolded has a rhythm to it, her truth, his retreat, silence as a message, a letter as a gesture, a sunrise as a bridge, and finally, the promise of grace in the words he chose outside his door. No shouting. No public blame. Just the acknowledgement that some bonds refuse to obey deadlines. When people ask why they're so invested, the answer is simple. Because in a world of loud endings, this doesn't feel like one. Not yet. So where does that leave us? The same place it leaves them, standing in the in-between, where every look and caption can tilt the needle. Will they find their way back to each other, or are they learning to honor what they were while moving forward separately? It remains unwritten. What we can say is that the story hasn't lost its pulse. Not when an envelope can still make a terrace moment feel cinematic. Not when a single sentence can stop timelines. Not when love, whatever they choose to call it now, keeps finding new shapes to take. Tell us what you think. Was her interview a doorway or a boundary? Was his silence acceptance or protection? Did the letter carry a last page or a first one? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and make sure you're subscribed to Turkish series stars so you don't miss what comes next. Because if there's one thing this week has proven, it's that quiet doesn't mean empty, and sometimes the softest words echo the longest.